Yeah. Lil Brunson back at you with the back at you, and I am the best reporting on the Eagles. Apparently, there was a method to the madness with the Philadelphia Eagles waiving a slew of players that they waived. If you think about it, when when they waived these guys, it came to my mind that, are we waiving these guys a little too early? What's the method to the madness? It seems like that we have waived the entire undrafted free agent class. After we ranted and raved about how special this undrafted free agent class was. You know what I mean? The Philadelphia Eagles worked everybody out. They had a lot of good to say about guys like Elijah Holyfield, both Elijahs, the defensive back as well. They had a lot of good stuff to say. Deontay Burnett, a lot of good stuff. He played with us a little last year, but it was some people that I didn't expect to get waived. Apparently, there was a method to the madness. Now, with us, waiving guys as early as we did, apparently it helped these guys funnel through, the process, to be able to be back on our practice squad. You know what I mean? These guys cleared waivers. And a lot of these guys are ready to be picked back up and put on a practice squad. You know what I'm saying? I think the Philadelphia Eagles have to go back to their undrafted free agent class. You know what I'm saying? And absolutely apply some of these guys back to, the practice squad. It's only right. Now, you have some exceptions. Now, the center, his name is not on the top of my head right now. They automatically just, signed him to the class. They didn't even want him to touch waivers for some reason. I guess it was a diamond in a rough situation for Howie Roseman and them, and they felt like this was a guy that they could keep working out on the practice squad and the guy that they could absolutely keep around. It was some head scratchers, man, that got waived. Elijah Holyfield being one. A lot of people are saying Killings just off the brute speed, but brute speed sometimes just doesn't do it. Look at John Ross in Cincinnati. Sometimes being fast isn't a good enough reason to make a roster or even a practice squad. Everybody's saying Killings could be our punt returner. We don't know if he even can field the punt properly half of the time. You know what I'm saying? If he was that good as a punt returner, he would have made the 53-man roster. But, we got a lot of wide receivers, and there's some wide receivers who are even as half as good at fielding punts as this guy. They will make the roster just so they can soak up 2 spots, and that's leverage for the Philadelphia Eagles. For example, John Hightower is a wide receiver that is very good. You know what I'm saying? He's good. He's proved it. He's proved it this camp. If the Philadelphia Eagles, have every wide receiver healthy, Deshaun Jackson, Alshon Jeffrey, Jalen Reagor, Arcega-Whiteside, you know what I'm saying? What's our guy named? Greg Lewis Jr. If everybody's healthy, where does, a guy like John Hightower really fit in the system? They could put him at punt returner and guarantee his roster spot so he still can get reps in game time action. That's how something like that will work out. Same with Quez Watkins. If Quez Watkins is going to make the practice squad or the 53-man roster, who knows? But I know he was signed, one of the first draft picks signed. So I know they're high on him. At the end of the day, we got to see what this practice squad is shaping out to be. Now, 53-man roster, it kind of already morphed into itself. So it's really no reason for me to give you the 53-man roster right now. The only thing that I can see changing with the 53-man roster is a few more cuts have to happen. I don't anticipate guys like Sharif Miller making the team right now. I don't anticipate Sidney Jones and Rasul Douglas. Both could be gone. They're talking about trades for those 2 guys. Both could be gone or one could stay. Who knows how that's going to pan out? But they're talking about trades. I could see Sidney Jones being a hot commodity around the NFL for guys that need cornerback depth. But I think the project has ran its course for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that we're done with Sidney Jones. I think that we're done with Rasul Douglas. They just didn't show a lot in camp. You know what I mean? And Arnold, man, what's his name? Graylin Arnold. I didn't hear a lot about him in camp, but I think that he's a guy that's worth, giving some of that time to. You know what I'm saying? We tried with Sidney. We tried with Rasul. Rasul's never going to have that top end speed. Sidney is never going to want to have that dog to play through some of these nagging injuries. Therefore, we got to give some of that time and attention to other players that we can develop. So I think we're going to bring back some cornerbacks and defensive backs from the practice squad. You know what I'm saying? And just backload some of our backload some of our depth. That's what the Philadelphia Eagles have to do. We've talked about Zach Ertz. I'm tired of talking about Zach Ertz's contract at this point. I know it hasn't even been long that it has been a situation for the Philadelphia Eagles, but at the end of the day, what they're going to do is what they're going to do. The more we talk about it, the more it seems like turmoil. I don't want to give that vibe of it being turmoil. It is what it is. They're going to chop the numbers. They're going to figure something out. They're eager to do so, and I think they're just going to wait until guys like Alshon is done with this year, and they can get rid of Alshon and, free up some of that bread, and they can apply it to Zach Ertz. The Philadelphia Eagles are actually, trying out a left tackle, I believe. His name is Cordy Gleen. I think he played with the Bills and the Bengals. Not really sure of his history, not really sure of who he is, but that's big. That's big news to me. That lets me know that the Philadelphia Eagles aren't complacent at all with the offensive line depth, which is great news. They're trying to figure out ways to get more bodies in there. Now, at this late in the season, if you're trying a guy out like Cordy Gleen, I think you're absolutely thinking about bringing him in. I think it's a 90% chance that it gets brought onto the active 53-man roster because offensive line depth is what matters. One of the hardest things to predict right now in terms of 53-man roster for the Philadelphia Eagles is the offensive line. You know what I'm saying? Who knows who's going to be on the offensive line? You know what I mean? Defensive line is pretty much a lock. Linebacker is kind of difficult to gauge as well. Wide receiver is done. Cornerback is pretty much done. You know what I mean? Who knows? Who knows at this point? And I think the Philadelphia Eagles are, answering questions. They're answering concerns by bringing in a left tackle to try out. You know what I mean? I think it's about, 8-9 days left to the season from September 5th. And listen, you got to have these questions answered because, honestly, I look around training camps all the time, especially guys who we play early in the season. And, at the end of the day, I really feel like there's some explosive, edge rushers that we got to face in the first half of the season. And I feel like it will behoove the Philadelphia Eagles to go out there and solidify these positions on the offensive line and get Carson Wentz the best protection that he can possibly have. You know what I mean? We all talk about Carson Wentz's talent. We all talk about these wide receivers and their talent, but their talent will not be on full display if Carson Wentz doesn't have adequate time to make reads and get rid of the ball. You know what I mean? He needs time like any other quarterback. You can't ask quarterbacks to turn nothing into something without an offensive line. It's just hard. Some guys can manage to make plays occasionally, but during the course of a season with a bad offensive line, no quarterback is going to be able to thrive with how fast these defensive linemen are coming out of college now. Look at Chase Young. I've been looking at Chase Young footage a lot lately. You know what I'm saying? Chase Young is, in fact, the problem. He's a problem that has to be, you have to look at him. You have to game plan for Chase Young week one. You just got to. You know what I'm saying? He's faster than most defensive ends. He's powerful than most defensive ends. And it's something that the Philadelphia Eagles can't ignore at this point. Now, with that being said, make sure you guys stay tuned because this is one of my season 1 shirts for merchandise. You know what I mean? Merchandise season 1. Not actual season 1, but I call this season 1 because this was my first logo, the badge of honor. If you look real close, you see this pink outline. That was what we did to commemorate Breast Cancer Month last football season. This football season, we're going to do the same thing with the stamp of approval logos. They're going to be outlined in pink, and a small proceeds, probably like 30%, will go to a breast cancer association that myself and the sponsor Print Champs pick out. So that's something to keep your eyes on, man. Just let me know what you guys think in the comments about this video. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. The season's 8 days away. I'm trying to get like 120 more subs to get me up to 13,000. Just trying to hit that milestone. Just personal achievement, man. You guys have been great all off season. Listen, man, listen. When the season come, I'm going to turn up. The Dark Lord cometh, man. I'm not here to play no games. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this is a championship team, and it's only right that we go out there and, show and prove early in the season, man. Let me know what you think in the comments.